My name is Dr. Charles Vanover, and I am the chair of the session, Problematizing Assessment of and Through Performance, Three Frames of Reference. And this is a symposium for AERA 2021, ABER SIG. And the focus of our session is on trying to re-envision and reimagine how assessment might be used as a positive force that might spark, inspire better, more powerful, more diverse, fiercer, more joyous, more angry, more socially just works of arts-based research practice. And the way this session will work is that in paper one, myself and Trace Taylor, we will discuss very, very briefly the design specifications for the Chicago Butoh project. I am the writer-producer of that project. Trace is the editor of the films we developed from that project. And this content that we developed, Chicago Butoh, the studio at 620 performance, will be assessed by paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. Paper 2 by Dr. Veronica Matthews investigates, I think, an oft-neglected but incredibly important aspect of arts-based research practice. Veronica investigates how do we understand the partnerships between university folk, such as Trace and myself, and local artists, such as Bob Devin Jones, the artistic director of the studio at 620 Art Space in St. Petersburg, and the director of Chicago Butoh. How do we investigate the power dynamics within those partnerships? How do we understand those relationships? Dr. Veronica Matthews will discuss that. Paper 3 investigates arts-based research from a critical perspective. So Chicago Butoh, the studio at 620 performance, has very frank and somewhat visceral representations of conflict between teachers and students of color in the Chicago public schools. An important question about such representations is whether they help us understand, whether the representations help us provoke dialogue, help us heal from those conflicts, or are they instead reproducing those conflicts and reproducing the structural racism that has so terribly afflicts many classrooms, many schools in the US. So Dr. Sarah Hobson of Community Allies LLC will help us conceptualize the assessment of arts-based research practice from a critical perspective. Finally, in paper 4, Joe Norris, Nadia Ganesh, Michael Martin Metz, Kevin Hobbs will help us understand, will apply one of the leading systems of assessment in ABR today, the Great Wheel, to the Chicago Butoh project. And so each author will discuss how to apply one quadrant from the Great Wheel to Chicago Butoh. Finally, which will be probably the treat of the session, our discussants, Dr. Mindy Carter at McGill University, Dr. Catherine Ricketts at the University of Regina. They will help sort of kick back the session towards the core issues that we came here to discuss, which again is, how do we conceptualize assessment in arts-based research practice as a means to grow and develop more powerful, more fierce, more joyous, more socially just works. All of these papers are being developed by a book of which I am an editor on, along with Graham Lee and Catherine Ricketts, Assessing Performance-Based Research, a Performance Case Study of Chicago Butoh. We will be having a call for proposals for the book out late May or in June. And so everyone watching this session, you will have an opportunity to weigh in and assess the work from your own position. So without any more ado, let's go to my AERA poster, and let's talk about the work that we are here to investigate. So Chicago Butoh is a long-term project that I have developed from a long-term partnership with Bob Devin Jones at the studio at 620. And the two of us developed a number of stage shows and then a live performance that was filmed. And out of this live performance, we developed a 30-minute film, Chicago Butoh, the studio at 620 performance, which Trace Taylor edited. And then Trace Taylor right now is going to talk to us about the trailer that she developed for AERA. Trace.
Hi, Dr. Vanover. There were a lot of differences between the film and the trailer. The film, we wanted to minimize influence so that everybody could make their own interpretations. But with the trailer, you gave me carte blanche to just make that trailer what I thought a trailer should be. And the trick was we wanted to draw people in. And so I did the extreme opposite of what we did with the film. And I exercised extreme influence in the trailer. I chose the most dramatic scenes and the most ear-catching scenes, and I put them together. And I also cut some dead space to speed it up a little bit, so to make it even more dramatic. And I hope you enjoy it.
Here we go.
Angel, why don't you read this? I'm 22. I'm white. I'm from Denver. Now, is that a question related to what I am talking about right now? No? Okay, you can wait until I'm done. And then she would just start going off on me. Eventually, it would be like they would be in my face. Hey, look, why are you yelling at me? I didn't do anything to you, so why don't you just quiet down, calm down? Like, I will never yell like a black woman. And she would just start yelling at me. You don't like me because I'm black! If she blew up, I would try to call security. I couldn't reason with her.
Well, nobody cares about our education. Who's gonna care?
Well, how did we do this? We did this, as I said, by developing a long-term partnership with the studio at 620, artistic director Bob Devin Jones, whose photo you saw, and we just took it through the system, took it through as much and many different opportunities for performance, opportunities for peer review. The script itself is from my Inquiry Theater project. So I did four 90-minute interviews with the white beginning to public schools. She had full anonymity, so interviews conducted out of the workplace. No one at CPS given names, transcripts fully anonymized. Again, qualitative methods, coding, writing, presenting, and honestly, I overcoded, I overwrote, I overpresented, but eventually I found a way, and despite myself. And so inquiry theater methods, what do? I cut to reveal the drama. No added words, every line in the original order voice, except again, we violated those assumptions a bit in the trailer. And, but the core thing that I want people to see is our artistic management practices. And so the core issue here is that we pay the artist for their time. So all funds from the USF Creative Scholarship Grant that I won went to the studio at 620 and paid for the film. All advances and royalties from the book, Chicago Butoh, the studio at 6 Performance, the case study, go to the studio at 620. The director rejects. So Bob Devin Jones cast the film. He hired the artist. He will have the final cut. Me and Trace developed what you're seeing now. Bob will have the final director's cut. And so the idea is that because we work with Bob, we had a professional actor, Jay Shanae, who was getting lead roles regionally. We had a professional actor, Lisa Tricome, who is getting lead roles, who has had a long career and who runs her own nonprofit, Let the People Talk.